Hello, everyone. This is Tina from Tiasa's Treasures, and today I have the November My Monthly Hero Arts Club Kit of the Month. Now, this kit has some adorable dies that you can make a little snowman or an elf, a little reindeer or Santa. You can make tags out of them, or you can just cut the little loop off and make them by themselves. It also comes with some white puff embossing powder, a lacquer pen, 10 half sheets of cardstock, white cardstock, and 1/2 sheet of glitter cardstock. I also have this add-on kit, which is this really cute hot chocolate add-on. This stamp that I'm just realizing I forgot to use. I also got this add-on Fireplace with the little stockings and this little stamp, fire stamp. What do you call it when you stack them all together? I don't know. My mind's going. So for this first card, I already took a card that I had some splatter on the back of, and I am going to make a little glitter snowman. So I took a circle die out of my stash and I cut it out, and I went ahead and I cut a little orange triangle for a nose. So I've got glitter cardstock for the hat band, and the scarf, and regular cardstock for the little holly berries. I just thought for whatever reason that it would be a bit too much if I did glitter for the berry and the holly. So anyway, I am taking the sentiment Happy Holidays, and I am going to stamp that with some VersaFine black onyx ink in the corner. And right now you're watching me kind of glue everything down. I had already glued the eyes and the nose on the little snowman. So I was trying to get stuff ready so this video was not absurdly long, but it does end up being a little bit long anyway because I've got a little bit of coloring in there, and putting all the dies together takes a while. And after I started doing this voiceover and figured out that I forgot to use my one background stamp, I'm a little upset because I had planned to use it on 2 cards and I didn't use it on any card now. So I love this snowman. I don't know what it is, but the splatter in the background and this glitter cardstock, it's just I think this is my favorite card out of the 6 I did, and there's some cute cards that this month's kit made. It's a really fun kit. Now, I did go ahead and, I used the add-ons for a few of the cards because I did not want every single card to be pretty much the same with a Santa head or a snowman head or whatever else. Here you're just seeing me move over my little circle. I realized it wasn't centered as well as it could be, and because I was using my liquid glue did not dry, I was kind of lucky. And lucky's a relative term there. I'm just going to glue on my little head now. I think this is the only card that I remembered to actually put little white dots in the eyes. I have to go back and do that to the rest of my cards because I do have little black eyes for all of the little snowman and Santa and anything I used, and a little bit of white gel pen inside their eyes kind of gives it a nice little sparkle, which brings it to life. And now I should have put this Happy Holidays first just in case I messed it up, but I end up taking a leap of faith. I'm not sure if I put it in my Misty. I do put it in my Misty, so I guess it's not really a leap of faith. It's more of a little crawl of faith. because even using the Misty, I've been known to screw up a stamp here and there, which this sticky mat that I've got in there helps tremendously to keep my cardstock from shifting, because I could use the magnets, I can tape it down, and it'll still shift for me. It seems like maybe 40% of the time, which it's better than nothing, because without the Misty, I'd probably be screwing up my stamping 95% of the time. And now I am gluing this down on this piece of gold textured cardstock that I've got from Tonic. And I don't know that you can see the gold real well. It's kind of a matte gold. And here I realized that, oh no, I forgot to cut my card down. Now, the smart person probably would have said, well, I'll just put it on my card base like that. It's 5.5 by 4.25. But no, I decided I was going to cut it down, even though I still had tape on it. I made it work, so I'm kind of proud of myself there. I didn't screw up anything. And I really thought that gold background added something to this card. I needed it. So that's why I was determined to make it work. And I don't know if you could see the inside of this card. I actually stamped the inside of this card as well. It says the same thing as the front of the card, Happy Holidays. So I wasn't paying really close attention when I did that, but that's okay. Somebody will still enjoy it. It's in a different font at least. So for this card, I couldn't decide at first whether I wanted to use the gold circle or this kind of a silver glitter cardstock. Now I've got that little topper I took out of an older Hero Arts kit, which was an ornament that didn't fit the Santa, and I just cut the topper off. And you can see I am gluing down getting all my little spots ready. The Santa hat is a textured piece of cardstock that I had left over from Pink and Maine. It's basil with texture, and it just it was so cute when I saw it in my stash, the little scrap. I had to use it. Now here I am just cutting out the little white pom-pom and the white hatband of Santa's hat, so I can put it on the little red part. And I get that glued down eventually. You can see. This kit came with a lacquer pen, and I'm never really sure what to do with their lacquer pens. I mean, I guess you could use them as glue, but that seems so wasteful. I did end up using the lacquer pen on this kit card. At first you saw I brought in the perfect medium pen I had, because I decided I was going to use the puff embossing powder on Santa's hat, but at the last second I remembered the lacquer pen, and I used it on the little pom-pom. I didn't want to use it on the whole thing because I wasn't sure how good it would work with the embossing powder, but it's phenomenal with the embossing powder. It just puffed way up. Now the part where I use the perfect medium pen, you still get a little bit of texture, and it kind of looks like floss, like flossing, but it's the pom-pom puffed up, and it was really, really cool watching it. It was kind of like watching a marshmallow puff up. So here I am just getting all my pieces ready. And I kept the little dots for the eyes, and I'm just, using a Copic marker to color them black. And I use a Copic marker to color the little nose piece pink. But as it turns out, Santa's nose is attached to his mustache, the mustache die, and it is quite a bit bigger than this piece. So I end up gluing it on and then peeling it off and then cutting out another nose piece so I can glue it over the mustache in pink. And it's really fun putting these pieces together. It can be a bit much. I find it's easier to glue the pieces together before I put them on the card, because otherwise I wouldn't exactly know how to position them quite as well. You get the little beard on there. You see? He's so cute. Getting all this glue. It's this, I must have had like over 2-3 hours worth of footage. So you'll see a few spots where it's sped up a little weird, a few other spots where there might be some me cutting out footage, because it's one of those things where I'm still not really sure in the editing room exactly what I'm doing. I'm still kind of learning. Now here you can see me putting on the little nose, and you'll see what I mean about the nose that goes into the little Santa head being too small. And I'm trying to debate whether I can just get away with leaving that there, and I decide no, it looks kind of stupid. And I pull it off, and I'm gonna come back, and the magic of editing, I have got another nose piece now for the ready, because I cut out me putting it through my Gemini and all that, because you didn't want to have to sit through that. Put little glue dots down for the little eyeballs. And this Santa ornament is going to go on a piece of green cardstock. I figured we'd do some traditional Christmas colors with this card. And you're about to see me put glue on the back of it, and in the nick of time I glanced at my card base, and it's telling me splatter first, because I wanted gold splatter on this card. And if I wouldn't have had that, I would have just, I would have had to make a mask to splatter it or do something else. So I've got two different golds, and I'm not sure which one I want. There's a Jen Hadfield gold glitter, and there's also the Fun Stamper's Journey gold. Now the big one is the Jen Hadfield. That's the big splatter, and the little splatters were the Spellbinders. Now they were slightly different colors, and I liked them both, so I used them both, and I just splattered the heck out of the background. And it's just that gold on there is so pretty. And, you know, I thought about using silver for about a split second, but then I'm like, I want the silver and gold. Isn't that the whole thing, like in Rudolph, silver and gold? I'm not going to start singing. Nobody needs that. So I'm taking a little bit of twine, and I'm going to put it through. I've only got like a 1/2 inch, if that, where the twine's going to be at the top of the card, but I think it adds a little something just the same. I mean, after all, we are making this into an ornament, so why not? We've got the little silver mirrored cardstock for the ornament topper, and I would have made my own ornament topper if I couldn't find one, because I've got a hole punch, and I figure, you know, they're pretty simple shape. And now in the bottom corner, I figure out, after I already glued everything down, I want a little white ho 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 that I'm going to end up embossing, because there's this perfect spot for it right there. And leave it to me to do this last. It's one of those things that I should do before I glue anything else down, but I forget, or I just decide at the last minute that it would look really nice. And this time I actually made myself notes the night before I started making all these cards. I took and I drew out all 6 cards, which is why I'm a little upset I forgot my one background stamp, because I even put it on the note to do it, and I made a rough sketch of it, and I still ended up not using it. Now I end up stamping on the inside of this card, Merry Christmas. I do not stamp all of the cards that I make on the inside tonight. I'm probably going to go back and stamp them. You can see I screwed that up, which is why I now have the Misty out, and I'm going to try it again. Thank goodness that I didn't have the card glued to the card base already, or I would have had to cut that off. So at least I did do something right tonight. And that Merry Christmas, I think that's using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink. And it's one of my favorite inks. It usually stamps really well the first time. We're just going to pull that off. And now I'm going to glue that, actually use glue for the back of my card. A little heart for y'all there. And we've got a little bit of double-sided tape there that is holding down my twine. We'll take the backing off of that. We'll get my card all centered on that card base. And voila! This is card number 2. Now for card number 3, I'm using the stamp set with the hot chocolate. And this card is just so darn cute. I'm taking the background stamp that I've got there. It's it's a Hero Arts Snowflake background stamp. I think you could use any Snowflake background stamp. And I decide that I am going to try to use my white ink. I've got some Simon Says white ink. And I kind of expected it to maybe show through pink on this card, but it didn't. It was a nice white, and it just came out so pretty that I started kind of panicking because it was still nice and juicy. So at the last second, I decided that I should just throw some clear embossing powder over it so I don't smudge anything. And I didn't show myself heating it up, but I did clear emboss it. And then I've got some I have some Simon Hurley Lovestruck ink. It's one of his new colors that I am just putting around the edge. Now I use Simon Hurley for most of my ink colors tonight because they're on my desk, so they're within easy reach. I think there's only once or twice I go for a different stamp pads that aren't Simon Hurley. So I've got this cute little blue mug I thought would look really nice against the pink. And I am going to use some ink around the edges of this too. I end up using some No Diving, which kind of just gives a little bit of highlight all around the edge. I don't go real heavy with this ink because I just kind of want it to show up on the edges. I don't want it to have a big vignette look like the pink does around the edges. Now with this card, I've got silver, I am tripping over my words, I'm sorry. I've got some mirrored cardstock for the little candy cane, and I've got the little holly berries, that's mirrored cardstock. And I'm going to end up stamping inside of my mug a hug in a mug. And it just fits perfect. All the sentiments in the stamp set pretty much fit inside the mug. And I still kind of want it to look a little grounded, so I'm going to bring in a ribbon that I put along the end. And I'm looking at this card, and it's still, I've got this big area up in the upper right hand corner that I don't want to do sequins or anything, so I decide that I'm going to cut out some banners. So I cut out one in a pearlescent cardstock, and I cut out another one in a pink glitter paper that I have a bunch of sheets of pink glitter paper. So, you know, anytime I can use some of it up, that's a big plus. And Now I get to glue everything down, which is kind of the fun part. I know a lot of people have a lot of fun using die cuts and cutting everything out and paper piecing. And I don't mind paper piecing, that can be a bit fun. But what starts to annoy me sometimes is when you have one tiny die, like you do for the mini marshmallows, and I have to cut them multiple times. I cut out 5 mini marshmallows, so I had to run that stupid die through my machine 5 times. It's like, why can't they just give us like 2 of those when they know that you're going to be using it more than one time, most likely? Just throw us a bone. Give us 2 of the tiny dies. And the same thing with the little holly berries. I had to throw those through 3 times, and those didn't annoy me as much as the marshmallows. Hey everyone, I'm breaking in here away from my voiceover because I had thought that I had lost all the footage after I had splattered this, and all of my footage on this card here, the pink one. Luckily, my phone was just being really odd, and it started turning off, which was why I gave up last night after I kept trying to record. It was full, but it wasn't showing like an hour's worth of video, and I was just like, oh my God, really, really, So, this one you saw all of. I'm thinking I'm not totally done editing yet. I just kind of uploaded what I had and looked real quick through the video. This one you lost, or I should say I lost all the footage before I put in the little marshmallows and the ribbon and my little banners there. I'm not even sure if you saw me looking for the banners because there was this big open spot there. Not 100% sure. Like I said, originally I thought I had lost everything on this card, and I was like really pretty sad. I was going to have to sit here and explain to you what I did. Well, what I did after the part you saw was I stamped Hug on a Mug. I'm not sure if that was shown. I'm really, like I said, I'd have to go back and really check the footage to see what was shown and what wasn't. I know the majority of it I got done, like doing the ink blending on the edges. So anyway, let's just assume you saw the ink blending and you saw me kind of you saw me glue down this. I had put in my little candy cane, 3 little marshmallows there, 2 there. I glued in all my little holly pieces with some cute little mirrored cardstock berries that match the candy cane. I put the bow on here on the bottom with some ribbon that I just think matches beautifully. And I did have this big open spot here. I thought about adding some sequins, but I have these beautiful snowflakes. So I just decided to add these little banners. I've got one in pearlescent cardstock and one in a pink glitter cardstock. And the inside I stamped Merry Christmas. So I have this beautiful card, and that is it. Now we are going to move on to card number 4. I'm going to go ahead and stop the voiceover and or stop my live, whatever what would you call this? Voiceovers when you do the video. We'll find out. Okay, on to card number 3 and back to my voiceover. So this card is a shaker card. Now, I forgot to show you, but I am using I don't think I showed you, a Christmas tree die that I bought for one of last year's add-ons. And I just thought it would make a perfect shaker card. So I am using the polka dot background die with a tone-on-tone right now. I figured I could get some use out of it. Now this card is the most I stray away from using this month's add-ons. I think this is the only part of the kit that I end up really using, that and the greeting. This is another spot where I was supposed to use the background die or the background stamp, but I ended up pulling this background stamp here from, which was an add-on from last month's Scandinavian Christmas one. I just thought it would look a little bit better. And I used some green Simon Hurley, let me see, I cannot remember the name of this ink off the top of my head. I don't see it on my desks. I think it's later Gator. Yeah, Viper's the green that he just did, and that one's too much of an olive green, I decided. So I pulled a different one out. And I just think that stamp, along with the red background, just really made a fun shaker. Now I used some foam, some fun foam instead of foam tape, and I ended up using two, which you can kind of see it a little bit through. I had a little bit of an issue when I glued the second layer down, and it kept wanting to move. So don't do that. If you're gonna use fun foam on top of fun foam, you want to tape it. Glue slides all over the place, and I almost ruined this card, but I was able to salvage it. Now I cheated a bit and didn't really show me pulling apart the different layers and how I saved it. If I'd have showed you that, it probably would have been another half hour on this video, and that would have taken quite a while. So this kit, I had some Nouveau snowflakes and Nouveau little iridescent ice stars, they're called, and so I used those for the shaker bits, and I used the little season's greetings from the stamp kit. And on the inside, I end up gluing the Christmas tree cutout, and I stamp Happy Holidays. So that was card number 3. I also used that gold tonic pattern paper or specialty paper like I did on the first card. So this is a Slimline. I was going to make an A2 card, but I figured out that I couldn't fit all 3 die cuts on it, no matter how I tried. So I wanted the 3 to go across. I wanted the little elf, the reindeer, and Santa. And I wanted them to be like boom, boom, boom. And I was going to try a mini Slimline, and they didn't even fit on that, so I went full Slimline. This background die is from the Stamps of Life, the little snowflakes, and it's a standalone die. It doesn't have the scalloped edges. I had a second scalloped edge die that I used, and I put the two together to get the background. And now you're seeing me just glue all the pieces together. Now, instead of using cardstock, I got a little lazy and I just used white on all these pieces, and I did a simple Copic coloring. I didn't show myself coloring any of them. I started to last night film it, and I just decided that I was going to be lazy and not do any shading, and it was just going to be one color. I went a little bit overboard with the reindeer's muzzle, and I just kept darkening it, and it almost looks like a stain. It's real shiny. I should have redone that, but it's neither here nor there. It's still a real cute card when it's all is said and done. And I'm just putting everything together and arranging it on my card. And this card keeps wanting to pop open, so I had to end up taping it. I ended up taping it shut so I could have everything, arranged on the card the way I wanted it to without it flying off before I glued it down. And now I'm just kind of gluing down my little elf. I tried to use colors that didn't clash, and I think they worked out pretty well. The orange I'm still a little iffy on, but with the red Santa's hat, the orange does match. And see, now you can see what I mean about the reindeer's muzzle there. It's all real shiny. A little Rudolph nose, I colored it nice and red. And I think it's too dark, the little muzzle. I should have went a little bit lighter. But it still, I think, turned out really adorable. And then I took the little Happy Holidays sentiment, and I'm just gluing that on the left-hand corner. And even though I have all these snowflakes, I decide I need a little bit more bling. And I am going to put some sequins all over this card. When I say all over, I mean I'm going to use 5 sequins and put them over this card. So I guess that's not too many, but I just really love this silvery, it's kind of like a silvery iridescent little snowflakes. Kind of just arrange them going across from one side to the other. And then I figure out that I have got some Nouveau glitter drops, and so I am just going to spread that all over Santa's hat where it's white, and I'm bringing out a little palette knife so I can spread them out because it kind of was a little bit goopy. So I spread it out, and that's it for this card. It's just adorable. Oh yeah, and Spectrum Noir glitter pen on the elf's hat. See this, I have that little stamp there. That's where I was supposed to use the stamp, and I don't. So for this card, which is card number 4, I do end up using, why do I keep losing my train of thought? I use single colors on all of these. I do real simple color. There's no shading. I just use, for each color, I use one marker, and that's it. I'd be there all night otherwise. But I did use a layering stamp for the fire. It comes with this stamp set. So you have a layering stamp, and then you have some regular stamps you can color. And it does come with a die to cut out the stocking. And I do end up using my brother Scan and Cut to cut out everything you see me coloring right now. I could have used the die for the stocking, but I figured I was already putting it through the brother Scan and Cut. Why go through the hassle of cutting each sock individual? And I used the brother Scan and Cut to cut out the little fire too, and it did a beautiful job. Now the one big candle, the one I'm coloring now, it did end up not cutting all the way through, and it ended up ruining it, so I had to stamp out another one and recoloring it. But because I was just using a single color, it literally took me like 30 seconds to recolor and stamp another candle. And I did put it through the brother Scan and Cut a second time, and it came out perfect that time. Now I am using multiple shades of green. I think I've got 3 different greens. For the little pine bough with the pine cones, I use a darker green. And for the little tree, I started to use one color and changed my mind and brought in a different one. And for the socks, I'm using a red and a green for a little contrast. You know, I've got the Christmas colors going on here. And if you watch me, you'll see that in one color, and I'm not really sure what colors I'm even using. I think I'm using a bright red. I think you might be able to see it on the cap. And I'm always thinking I should have like more Copics, but I'm not even sure how to use the ones I have. And I was thinking of watercoloring because I just got a bunch of Zig markers for my birthday, but I was thinking if I start watercoloring, I'll have to use watercolor paper. And with that, maybe I should do some shading. And I just got lazy and said I'm going to use one color, a Copic marker, and that's it. So I am taking out the center here. It just takes 4 snips to take out the center of this fireplace. And you're going to see that now I have a spot to put this in. And what I'm going to do here is I'm taking a small brick stencil and I'm going to use some tone on tone. Again, I'm using Love Struck ink by Simon Hurley, and I am just going to put it over this real quick to make it look like I have bricks inside the fireplace. Now, I was thinking of using this stencil to do the outside of the fireplace as well, but the outside of the fireplace just looks a little bit too decorative to be brick. And so I brought in some gray Simon Hurley Gur, I think it is, and I'm just kind of doing the outside to give it a little bit of extra dimension. And it lightens up as it dries. So you're seeing something rare right there. You're seeing me in long sleeves. I very rarely wear sleeves. Winter, summer, doesn't matter. It's just I get too warm in sleeves. And even now you're seeing I'm trying to pull them up. They're starting to irritate me. So I'm gluing down my fireplace, and I just really, really love that brick on the inside though. I just think that just really adds something. I had a heck of a time trying to figure out what color I was going to make the fireplace itself. You know, it's because once I figured out it wasn't going to be brick, I wasn't sure what color to do it. I was supposed to have tone on tone with my background stamp, which is going to look like wallpaper and the blue, but I'm sure you're tired of hearing me complaining about not using my background stamp. But, so I'm just piecing that in, and I am going to put the little fire on the inside here, and I just think it's that stamp, that layering stamp is just adorable. Now this is the only time that I used a different ink. I didn't use Simon Hurley for the fire. I used some Hero inks, some small Hero ink cubes that came with the previous kit. I used like Butter Bar, Tangerine, Caramel, and the Hero Intense Black. And I was going to try to use all 3 socks, but you know, you didn't want the one hanging down in front of the fire. That would have been a bad fire hazard right there. Now I've got my 2 little trees and my 2 candles. And I'm just figuring out that, oh no, I need to put a sentiment on this card. And at least I didn't have everything glued down before I figured out that I wanted to use white embossing powder. And I decided on the sentiment Warm Wishes. I'm going to end up stamping probably Merry Christmas on the inside, but I haven't done that yet because this video was getting a little long and I was getting a little frustrated that it had taken me hours to do these 6 cards. I thought because I had so much of the cards die cut and stuff ahead of time that I'd be able to kind of whip through getting these done, and it didn't work out that way. It took me a long time. You know, it took me 2 days of filming, 1 night of doing a mock-up of drawing them all out, and now I'm just doing the voiceover. So this has been like a 2.5 day event, which is pretty shocking to me. And I just spilled embossing powder all over the place. You get to see me try to heat it up a little bit here. And I forgot to wipe off the powder except with my hand there. And after I had put this down, I was thinking a gold background, a gold frame might have looked really nice with this too, but the fireplace took the whole front of the card up, so I didn't really have much room to cut it down. Now I'm just gluing all my little things down, and then I'm trying to see if I can tuck them underneath. And when I figure out I can't because it's glued down too solidly, I'm just cutting off a little bit of the white part on the bottom so it looks like these pieces are tucked under the fireplace. I could have gone ahead and used my scissors and re-fussy cut them out, but then what would be the point of using the Brother Scan and Cut if I was going to fussy cut them all out anyway? And I'm a little bit too lazy for that. I'm just now starting to really use my Brother Scan and Cut. I bought it used on eBay. It wasn't, it was like $150 maybe dollars, which it's wireless. It's an older model, but when I first started using it, I started really, anytime I would use it, the paper would shift in there, and I had all sorts of issues, and it was kind of like once bitten, twice shy, I think. And so I didn't use it for a long time, and I'm just now starting to use it again. I bought a new mat, a new blade, and it's helped tremendously. And so I'm still a little leery, so I'm trying not to do major coloring in case it does eat what I end up putting through it. This way, if I do like real basic colors and it eats my project, it's not that bad. See, I'm just, and it did end up eating one of my candlesticks, so there's that. Now we're putting our fire hazard on both sides of the fireplace there. Fire hazard 1, kind of a plaid, and fire hazard 2 with the little zigzag, the red and green sock. And I'm looking at this card, and I think it still it needs something sparkly on it, but I'm not sure. Maybe maybe I'll sparkle up the socks, but I didn't yet. And so that was card number 5. Now for card number 6, oh wait, that was card 6, wasn't it? Oh wow, how about that? So here are my cards. Like I said, that snowman's my favorite. So if you liked this video and like these cards, please give me a thumbs up. I know it could be a little hard to listen to once I start losing my train of thought. Or please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Anyway, it's been great. Bye-bye.